Hello, my name is Kainoa PIP, and my project was building a spear gun. So right here, this is my logo that I made in class. It's just two divers with their spear guns, and because you have to dive with a diving partner, it's more safe. So I just thought that was a cool logo that I made. Okay, so first off, what is a PIP? A PIP is abbreviation for Personal Interest Project. So our teachers gave us the assignment of going out and creating something that interests you, but will also help out the community. So last year we did aquaponics, and aquaponics wasn't a personal interest project. They kind of just gave us the task of doing it. And at first I didn't really like it, and I wasn't like super excited for it. But then I started to like it, and it became really fun. I had a great group, and I wanted to do it more and more. So with this project, I loved it immediately. It was spearfishing, and spearfishing is like my passion. I've been doing it for a few months now, and it's such a great sport, and I want to do a project on that. Okay, so next, what is my essential question? My essential question was, how can I build a spear gun that is affordable to people in third world countries? So, people that cannot really afford a good education can't afford to buy a spear gun. And when I go to the dive shop to go and buy a spear gun, I see that there's a range from $200 to $1,000 depending on what size and what material it's made out of. So I thought that's really, really expensive, even for me. So that must be really expensive for people that can't really afford to buy a good spear gun. So I wanted to make this project for them. So I wanted to go out and create a spear gun that is affordable so they could buy and get fish for their family, and maybe even sell the fish to get a profit and get a little bit more income. Okay, so the process. First off, I had to get an idea. So my idea came from just spearfishing, and just I wanted to make a better gun. Next, making a sketch, then getting materials, building it, testing it, and then going back to the drawing board. So after I tested it, I could see what problems I had and how I can make them better. So let's go back to the drawing board. Okay, so my community partners were Tyler Allen, Kurt Chambers, and Brandon Terry. This is Tyler Allen, and he's a 10th grader at the school. He's one of my best friends. We go dive a lot, and I just emailed him a bunch of questions about how he can make a better spear gun or what he likes in his spear guns. Kurt Chambers and Brandon Terry, they're professional spearfishermen, so I wanted to get their ideas on how I can make a better spear gun. So I emailed them a bunch of questions like, what do you like for a spear gun? What's the typical size for diving in like 30 feet of water? What type of materials? All that kind of stuff. And Tyler Allen got back to me, and Kurt Chambers, he responded, and I sent him another email, and he didn't respond. Brandon Terry, I've talked to him a lot. He gave me a lot of ideas on how to like track through the water, and like because when you're tracking, you want it to be easy to move. So if the fish is moving fast, you can move fast. So he gave me a lot of ideas on how to make a better spear gun. Okay, so this is the design. I wanted to make my spear gun different from other spear guns, so I wanted to make it out of a little bit thinner aluminum. I chose aluminum because it's a lot of spear guns are made with it, and it's pretty cheap. But thicker is more expensive than thinner, so I wanted to make it thinner, so it'd be a lot cheaper. But I also wanted it to be more durable, so that was kind of hard to find. Next, I wanted to make a handle with holes in it, so going through the water it could track easier and take off a little bit of the weight. So this is my spear gun, and I want it just to be unique from other spear guns, so if you saw it in the store, you'd be like, wow, that's a really cool idea. I want to buy that spear gun. Okay, so the main subjects I used were, first off, math, and math was used in the scale model, so I had to measure out all the measurements on it and see how big I wanted to make it, how small, how big is reasonable, and I just had to get all those measurements out, and that was using a lot of math, so that was my math. Then I used science. Science was used in researching all the materials, so when you have a spear gun, you don't want it to float or you don't want it to sink. So I had to find out what buoyancy was and how you can affect the buoyancy of things. And I had to research the different materials and see what kind of materials would do better in the water, which ones would float more and sink more. Because you don't want it to sink when you're tracking the fish and it just falls down, or you don't want it to float up, because then when you shoot it might get off target. So you gotta find the equal balance for it. English to use when doing all my research. So I looked up a lot of, or researching was a big part of my project because I had to find all the materials and find out how to build a spear gun before I could even make one. So I used a lot of English in this project. Next was social studies. Social studies was used to look at the different countries that could use a spear gun. So I looked around South Africa and Samoa and all those like Polynesian islands and just places on the coast, because people can't really afford, or I looked for countries that weren't really wealthy, but that were also around the coastline. So that's how I use social studies. Okay, so how will this benefit the community? I wanted to make the spear gun affordable, so people in other third world countries could buy it, and maybe that gives me to my second point, way of getting food. So if it's more affordable, then they can buy it and get more food. So they could get food and eat more for their family, because I researched and they said in Africa, South Africa, in the poorer rural areas, they get about one meal a day, and that's from school. So this could just be another way the dad could go out, catch fish, bring it home, and they can have a nice dinner. And maybe even if they have extra, they could sell it and get another piece of income. And also, it's keeping people active. Right now, obesity is like really big topic, and spearfishing burns a lot of calories because you're in the water just swimming the whole time. And also, those are cardio because you're holding your breath and going down, and then you keep doing that for, I don't know, like 2 hours. So it's really good for you. So my final product. This is my final product, and I use aluminum for the thing because it was cheaper and was pretty durable. I had to buy the bands from the dive shop. I had to get the shaft from the dive shop. I ordered the trigger mechanism. That's a very important part of the gun because it's what locks in the shaft so it doesn't fly out, because you don't want to pull the bands back and have your shaft fly at someone, at your dive partner. So that was a big part, so I wanted to make sure I got a good one. I got the handle online, and I got a lot of this stuff for retail price, so I think that's another reason why it was more expensive. So yeah, I was pretty happy with how it turned out. So going forward, I went to go test the spear gun, and I got a few shots. I got 3 shots off, and I was so excited because my first prototype I've ever made of a spear gun, it worked. It didn't shoot very straight, and it didn't have a lot of range. So that's something I have to work on. But on my like 3rd or 4th time pulling the bands back, the spear like snapped, and I think that was due to how thin the aluminum was. I think I made it too thin, so therefore it broke. But I was really bummed that happened, but overall I thought it turned out really nice, and I was really excited about it. I wasn't able to make this spear gun really affordable because I bought all the things retail. So next time I think I can make the things by hand, and maybe it'll be a little cheaper. But that's pretty much the only thing, that and how it broke was my big setbacks. So do you have any questions? Okay, thank you. Oh, and this is a spear gun. So this is not the spear gun, obviously, because the other one broke. But I just want to show how a spear gun works. So these are the bands, and you have to get the gun and put it on your hip or on your chest, depending on how big it is. Because if it's too big, then you have to hold the band and then pull it up onto your chest and then pull it back. But usually it's from your hip, and you just grab these bands and then just pull it back to the these little notches right here, and then aim, shoot, fire. And this is the safety right here. And this is the trigger mechanism, and this is the line that shoots it, and so it doesn't fly off.